looks pretty good.
What's up, guys? We're just getting started here. Give us 1 second. We'll be going, getting charged shortly. Here we are. Yeah, I think that looks pretty good. I think that looks good. On here.
What's up, guys?
How's it going, everybody?
Happy Monday.
I gotta get our notes.
Always prepared. So welcome back to a beautiful Monday morning. We are on Make Your Mark Live. This is our third show. Wow, 3 shows, man.
3 shows in.
Michael, how's your day going?
My day is going good.
Boop. All right,
we're ready. Yeah, so welcome, happy Monday, everybody. It's good to be back here in the Marca seat at Marca Studios, right?
Oh yeah,
feels good.
The good old couch, guys. Don't forget to apply if you want to sit here next to us and get bombarded with questions.
Yeah, we have a link. You can apply if you just go over to the post. It's in the post title. Apply, because we have a lot of people that have applied already, but we're still sifting through them. We obviously want to bring the best people on that are going to provide the most value to you guys. So if you think you can provide value, or you're making your mark in your community or business, make sure you reach out to us and get on the show, because we have fun.
Yeah, just hit that link and you can be here on a Monday morning too. But yeah, let's recap while people kind of start to fill in, and we'll this weekend was pretty intense. As you know, it was Pride weekend here in St. Pete, and man, there was some interesting characters out this weekend, which is awesome. I love the energy in the city.
Yeah.
And you said you were doing what Saturday?
Yeah, I was actually printing shirts live for Pride, which was really fun. It was hot. It was hot, but it was really fun. It's always great to be out into the community and promote my business and get to meet a ton of cool people. So yeah, we were out there all day Saturday printing shirts. So
that's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, it was definitely a crazy weekend, and it is summertime for sure, so don't forget to stay hydrated if you're out there.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, so if you guys are new to the show and you've never seen us and you've, kind of been hit with our ads or whatever, I'm Koji Sumalde, founder of Optimal Cinema, a videography company here in St. Petersburg. Offer a lot of video services for corporations, businesses, small owners, whatever you need in video, I can help you with that, and yeah. That's what I do. He does
awesome work.
I'll be humble about it.
Yeah. My name is Michael McAleenan, founder. I have a company here local in St. Petersburg called Marca Made. We do branding and graphic design along with some screen printing services as well. And we love working with small businesses. We have a monthly design subscription, so we act as your in-house designer. So that's a really cool service that we feature. I also have my own personal stuff that I'm doing. I do the Marca Minutes. If you haven't seen those, make sure you check them out. They're minute-long, valuable tips and tricks that I've kind of learned over my years as an entrepreneur. I post those at least 3 times a week. So again, that's the Marca Minute. Quick shout out to my little sister, Taylor Heath. If you know her, make sure you tell her congratulations today. She got accepted to UNF in their nursing program.
That's
so
awesome.
I know that was huge.
Man.
She had a pretty big interview on Friday. She got the email first thing this morning that she got in. So
That's
was
huge.
Yeah, super excited for her. So congratulations to her. And then, I guess let's kind of get rolling in the show. So today, we have 2 awesome guests. I don't know if the couch is big enough. We're going to find out.
We're going to find out.
We haven't had 2 people on the show at the same time yet, but we're gonna get it figured out. So I've known him for a while now. I think I met him through station house. I'm not real sure. I can't remember. Maybe they can help me remember. But we both had like kind of an app in the similar industry. We were both kind of targeting hospitality. And since then, they've kind of found their own little niche in real estate, and they've been killing it, guys. They've been killing it through their personal brand. They've been really like coming through. This only been their first year. They've already done $5 million in sales. They're going on their second year with some huge momentum. So they're going to be talking about personal branding today. They're going to be talking a little bit about the struggles as an entrepreneur and like what it takes to kind of overcome those like fears, which I think is really important for everybody that's ready to kind of get out there and start their own thing.
Yeah, and I would say that one of the biggest struggles is that risk factor. You just don't know what you're going to get into when you start something new, or you're transitioning from something that didn't really work. It's just a lot of moving parts and a lot of really, really crazy things that can happen. Yeah. And I think that they'll do a great job of telling you their struggles and the risks that they took. But I guess without further ado...
without further ado, we're going to bring on Serge and Megan with Smart Luxury Group. Hi, guys.
Hello.
Hey! Good morning.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
Get all cozy.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, the couch fits perfect.
Perfect. There you go.
We
I
got
know.
the wide lens on. Let's see. Let's check it out. It's going to come up here in a second. But welcome on the show. Thanks for coming on.
So if you will, just introduce yourself, guys. Talk to the fans today.
Oh yeah, we look good. We look cozy.
Thanks for making sure. I'm Megan Flatt, and
My name is Serge Osaulenko.
so we are very happy to be here. This is a cool opportunity for us to get to talk to you guys a little bit about what we've been doing. We're certainly going to be able to talk a little bit about the troubles that we had along the way, things that we had to overcome. So thanks again for having us.
Yeah, no worries. I think it's such an interesting story. Like you're a graduate and you have a law degree, right? You're
Yes,
an
that's
attorney.
right. Yeah, I have licensed Florida attorney.
Yeah, so that's awesome. So you started off with that. Serge, you've always just been an entrepreneur, just like kind of out there grinding, doing different things. So I think it's a crazy journey how you now are ended up in real estate. So could you tell us a little bit about that journey and like how you went from
Sure,
here to over here?
So actually, I was studying finance and real estate at Florida State University, and before graduating,
Shout out to Florida State.
Yep. Before graduating, and I came across a restaurant concept in Greece that I thought was amazing. So when I came back, finished my schooling, and decided to open up a restaurant in Tallahassee, although I loved real estate a lot. So opened up the restaurant thinking that I was going to be kind of like retiring in 5 years. It was going to be this grand slam.
Wow.
And next thing you know, it's we hit the recession, and then 10 years later, I'm still in Tallahassee, and I was like, man, you know what? I need to just get out into a bigger city and do something that I am passionate about, which is real estate. So I came to St. Pete, got involved with a couple of other things, and then along the way, I met Meg. And one of the first things we did was drive around and look at investment properties. So it was kind of like taking a step back into this original passion of real estate, but it was kind of had to navigate through all of these channels. And it was I think, inspiration from Meg and the encouragement that ultimately led us to it. But before then, we tried other things, and Meg can talk a little bit about that.
Yeah. So I practiced law for about 5 years at a firm in Tampa, great firm, really good experience. I thought coming out of law school was like my dream job. It was high stakes litigation and complex cases and an awesome office of people. But, as it turned out, I just kept feeling like that daily stress, grind, anxiety should be given to my own business and maybe not to a big corporation or another business. And so that was kind of the thing that kept, the little bug in my ear that was, work for yourself. And I think that's because my parents are entrepreneurs. I have aunts and uncles that are entrepreneurs. My grandparents were technically entrepreneurs. So just kind of across the board, it's like in my DNA. And so when I met Serge, he is a serial entrepreneur, and it kind of gave me that spark, that inspiration to say, you know what, people take risks all the time. And I put in a lot of years doing what I had done, so I felt like, if I wanted to go back to it, I had a solid foundation. And so then Serge and I came up with a business idea based on the consulting work he was doing at the time. and that was a catering marketplace. So basically, it was, instead of brokering real estate, we were brokering catering. So we had corporate office clients, and we had all these local restaurants, which was cool because we met all the local restaurateurs and found out about a lot of cool caterers. And then we went out and tried to sell that platform, which was an online ordering platform, to corporate clients. But as it turns out, it wasn't really maybe timely enough. We were a little bit ahead of Uber Eats and a little bit ahead of
I was actually telling Koji that this morning. I was like, they were like right there, like all these other companies were doing like the same, you're doing the same thing, and then like it was a game of like who got noticed, and like unfortunately like these other companies got noticed, but you were like, oh, so close. It was so close.
We were, and one of the things. First, I want a big thank you to you, because down that path, when we were just setting everything up, we talked at the station house. We told you about our business plan, and we were, getting motivated and inspired by looking at ways of working together. But one of the key things that you did that was so helpful to us is that you went ahead and introduced us to a lot of your friends who are in the pharmaceutical industry, and that became a clientele that we actually ended up exploring quite a bit. And also, riding on that, we ended up setting up the happy hour downstairs at the station house. So thank you so much for being there for us. Yeah, in that startup time, which is so difficult. There's, kind of don't know where to go. But, one thing that I think we will talk about a little bit with Group Bites, that was the catering marketplace, is that we, after trying for a year and a half and looking at, raising tons of capital, because it's one of those things to where with this online startup, you
eats
need
money.
Eats money, and you need a lot of eyeballs. And we were looking at our competition up north, a company called Easy Cater, and they are everywhere. If you type in easycater.com,
they're just killing it
with a Z. They have it all. They have it figured out, and they've raised tons of capital, like $90 million or so in the last few years. And they're everywhere. And
we didn't have that kind of cash.
We didn't have that kind of cash yet. And as we were developing, we spent a lot of time on the performance and the business plan and talking to investors, going to different pitch sessions and so forth. We were reading this article where the CEO of this amazing big company was quoted, "We are proudly not profitable." After so many years and after so much money raised, we looked at each other. We said, wait, we're out there asking people for money, and that's going to be our burden. And then 5 years later, we're going to have to make that kind of a statement to justify that we're not profitable.
Right.
And I think you can ask any entrepreneur, like raising capital is incredibly time-consuming, stressful. It's a roller coaster.
Yeah. And I think a lot comes down to like the community that you live in too, right? I think it's more about building personal relationships with these investors and not so much your business idea at all. And I think it's from key connections and things like that. But, when you guys were trying to raise capital in this area, I know I was too at one point, it can be challenging. This is still like a very new startup community, and while there's a ton of startups, there's not a ton of investors in to support it all, right? So I think they've done a little bit better job, the Tampa Bay area. I feel like it's done a little bit better over the past couple of years. We still need to do better, guys. So, we definitely need some money in the area. There's so many good ideas coming out of the Tampa Bay area. But yeah, it's definitely a challenge, definitely hard. We need those key people.
And even if there's not a lot of money, we did find there was a lot of support. So there's a ton of other young entrepreneurs out there kind of going down the same path that you are. There's the 1 Million Cups presentations, and there's just, there's a lot of groups out there that you can turn to for support, help, advice, which is, I think, almost equally as important as the funding, so that you can get, feedback on your ideas and where you're heading with things. And for us, ultimately, we just kind of looked at our business model. We saw that article. We said, do we really want to just dump our heart and soul and all the money we have and all the money that we can generate into this, or are we worried about key components of the business model? And we had, my father has given me like pieces of advice throughout the years that will always stand out to me, and here it was, this might be your opportunity to learn when not to go forward with something.
Right.
That was kind of his thought. Is he's done a lot of different projects with his own company, and there are certain times that he said he wished he saw the signs, like maybe I shouldn't go down this path with this idea, but did it anyways because your heart is in it. And
It's
you know,
almost
heart
like a
in
bad
business.
it's almost like a bad relationship, right? Sometimes you just stay in it because it's what's comfortable, it's what you know. It's like, oh, I set out to do this one thing. I saw this meme the other day. It was really funny actually. There was 2 tunnels, and the guys were each digging a tunnel, and there was like this monster dragon thing like in this like burrow at the end of the tunnel, and one guy said, you know, I give up, and the caption was like, you know, sometimes it's okay to, you know, give up, you know. I'm a doer. I'm an ideas guy. I'm always trying new things, and there's been plenty of businesses that I'm like, you know, after doing the market research and talking to like friends and family and things, I'm like, all right, yeah, maybe that's not such a good idea, you know, and it's okay to be like, all right, yeah, instead of wasting all this time and money and resources on it.
And I think that's like one of the biggest challenges is when you are in that startup stage and you're trying to get eyes on you and capital, that you will do anything to make it happen. And sometimes that anything is not always the right thing. And I think a lot of entrepreneurs, young or experienced, can still, you know, kind of talk about how like they can back up and say, okay, maybe I have some experience in this and I probably shouldn't do it. But yeah, I think that's awesome how you guys went from where you were to Smart Luxury Group, which is in the first year, turned $5 million in profit? Humbly $5 million in profit.
Well, no profit.
Oh, just in sales. Sorry,
Yeah, just in sales. Gosh, I wish. Yeah.
$5 million profit.
Yeah.
Quick. Let's do a little quick shout out. We got Danny Carpenter. He said good stuff, Serge.
All
Thanks
right.
a lot, Danny. Karen's watching from Minnesota. Thank you, Karen. Let's see here. Hi, Nicole. Hi, Kathleen. I posted a link at the top. I pinned it to apply to be on the show just in case you needed an extra place to find it. Yeah, so we're at, we got some live viewers. So
thank you guys for that are watching right now.
Yeah.
We do want to keep this very open and organic, so we'll be up here rambling on, but if you have any questions for Serge or Megan or myself or Koji, it doesn't matter, feel free to ask them. We'll be answering questions as we go along. So if you're live, let us know you're here, ask us some questions. Yeah, we'd love to hear from you.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, this is really just exposure for you guys. Once again, thank you for taking the time to come out here and be on the show. It's really awesome.
What's up, Ronnie?
And you guys are able to really talk about your journey. So one thing so obviously you've met Michael, you've known him for some time. I'm kind of new to knowing you guys. We just met like 20 minutes ago. But my question is, what was like the hardest transition leaving the catering group and getting started into your real estate journey?
Meg, you want to take that?
Yeah, so I'm a people person. I like being surrounded with people, and it was even a little bit of a challenge with group bites, but, you know, kind of anytime you're going from an environment that's very team-based or big office or whatever into, you know, more of an independent kind of solo environment, which real estate really kind of is. So Serge and I are rare that we have a partnership. A lot of agents are kind of out there as like sole practitioners, basically. But what we were able to do is join a big office, and so, you know, through like Keller Williams as our brokerage, we were able to kind of like maybe not feel like we are a total island by ourselves out there just trying to figure it out. So that was one of the challenges, and I would say there was, candidly, like I was worried about going out to my sphere and being like, hey, I'm a realtor now, when everyone knows me as an attorney, and, you know, and then also we had just shut down a business, so we were like credibility, you know, that just your sense of self, I think, got affected in that process, because it was like, okay, so we set out, I quit my job to start this big company, and we're going to be millionaires, and we're going to take off, and then that didn't happen, and now we're going to be in real estate. So, you know, just kind of dealing with the emotion, like overcoming that emotional blockage, which is, you know, are people out there going to be supportive of me or judgmental? And you just had to remind yourself, like, if they're your friends and if they love you, they're going to support you. Yeah, so why have that, you know, kind of, I don't know, Keller Williams calls them drunk monkeys on your back, you know, throughout this process. And yeah, I think really that was probably what I struggled with the most, and just kind of that sense of identity. Who am I? Where am I going? What am I doing? And is everyone else going to buy into that?
And, you know, to that point too, I mean, you know, again, to your point, if they are your friends or their family, they're going to support you, right? And, you know, at the end of the day, like, who cares? I think you critique yourself the most, right? You're your own worst enemy. So a lot of times people they're going to be supportive. You know, it's in human nature to be supportive. So I think people probably worry about it more than what they should, you know, because you're going to get that support. You guys are awesome.
Thank you.
You're going to go do something else right now and be like, yeah, go get them.
Yeah, you got our support. Definitely.
And it was, our own, perhaps my reflection of who a real estate agent is and what kind of service and value they provide for someone. So kind of not understanding what that truly means. Because of maybe in the past, everything I've seen did not resonate with me the way it should have.
Yeah. So you're saying you had some kind of expectations for yourself when you transitioned?
More of limitations. Right? So I guess what I perceived someone in real estate, so for one, in Pinellas County, there are 10,000 real estate agents, right? And there are about, and there's not that many transactions per year. So of those agents, I mean, your barber can have a real estate license, right? And it doesn't take much to go out there, go through school, and get the license activated. And it's like almost, just like somebody selling a vehicle, right? You can go on a corner lot buying a used vehicle, or you could be walking in and buying a luxury vehicle that needs luxury service and that professional approach. So there's just kind of a spectrum of services. So I always, perhaps, my view was limited to the spectrum, the side of the spectrum, which was kind of like a used car salesperson, rather than someone who's actually helping someone transition from one place in their life to another, right? We actually, part of our success, and we'll talk more about that, but it's actually we're serving a role of being a therapist quite often, right? Like that right there. It's not
advisors.
Just advisors, and knowing things and being able to walk people through all of these crazy things. And but my fear, just kind of that, and then also the uncertainty of income, right? It's not like you're not walking into an industry where you're gonna clock in and clock out, and then 2 weeks later you're gonna get your paycheck. No, it's like
you gotta work. You gotta work hard for that.
It had been a while since we had had paychecks. Anyway, moving into it, so it's not only the uncertainty, but we're like
this
it's
has
been
to
a
work.
long time
Exactly.
since we've had a paycheck.
And that that's always it's a horrible feeling, but it also is a good kick in the ass too when you're like, all right, like I have to make this work, like this has to be successful, and that extra drive and that passion, like if you could just keep that through your entire life, like everybody would probably be so much more successful. Because I think people get complacent with either like they make a bunch of money and they're like, oh, I'm good, and then 5 years from now they're broke.
I feel like you should always work as if your back is against the wall,
right?
Where you're always trying to turn something. And I mean, we've all been there where you've been at the lowest point and you're like doing anything you can to make that income, to close those leads, whatever it is. And then whenever you got 2-3 months full of work, you're like, all right, I'm chilling, and there's a medium you got to find between that, and especially as entrepreneurs, if you work for yourself, you got to find the time out of your week, out of each day, track your days, track your hours, and see where you're going with that kind of stuff. So I'm sure that all kind of resonates with you guys, but that's really awesome. Oh, and one thing that was interesting on your application for Make Your Mark, you had a little slogan about smart luxury. Can you talk about that little slogan?
The slogan was
how you guys help people move.
Perhaps maybe I just made something up on the spot.
I'm like, I didn't know we had a slogan. So
let's pull this up.
It was something like we help people move in or not out or something.
Yeah, we gotta pull it because the thing is, and this is part of the perhaps our process. We are developing still, right? We're developing our brand. We just finished with our first year, so there's still a lot of kind of identity to be figured out. So,
and you guys are, from a branding standpoint, this is what I do. Like, you guys are doing a great job, right, with your whole personal brand. Let's talk about that for a second while I look this up. What made you just like have your own like company, like Smart Luxury Group, as opposed to being Serge and Megan? Like what was what made you say, okay, we want to be this entity instead of just being Serge and Megan? Like from a branding standpoint, what?
It's a good question, because more often than not we see with other realtors, they just use their name for things, or it's their name and associates, or their name and group, and I think there's good reason for that, because real estate, we've learned, is a very personal business. Referrals are huge, but people want to just kind of trust you, who you are, how you're going to represent them. As a buyer, you love your agent because they helped you buy maybe your first house. As a seller, you know, your agents are helping you make sure you get your money out of your property or make money.
I found
so
it.
it's personal. Oh, great.
No, it's good. I mean, it is good.
Like,
All right,
I'm
so here it is.
praising myself for our new slogan.
Here's the new slogan. It's being released today. We help people change their life by helping them move on or move in.
Oh, okay, that's pretty
That's
good.
good.
When I read the
No,
application,
literally-
I thought that was awesome.
To be honest, I didn't even
All
know
right,
we had an
so there it
application.
is.
So.
Wow, that was like a spark of genius, right? Like, as I was filling out this application, like, that was all natural.
See,
like,
guys, not only can you be on the show, but you can also come up with new
We're
slogans.
Yeah,
actually
there you go.
strategists. We're helping you guys with your business on the
Business
show.
analysts, there you go, they're consultants.
That's
yeah.
awesome.
So, you know, with our brand, we like our brokerage, we're very happy to be there, but there's a lot of agents who make moves all the time.
Right.
And so you can brand yourself and your name goes everywhere with you, of course, or you can have kind of a team. And since we came in as a partnership, it just kind of felt a little bit more natural to have a brand for our group, our partnership, than just individually. So
Right.
I think that was part of it. And you know, you're gonna have signs and business cards and all this stuff, and it would be hard to just have it be like Megan Serge on everything. And so, you know, Smart Luxury Group is actually Serge and Meg, like the S and the M are for our names. We kind of
Got
built
it.
that in.
Okay.
And
and then what does the A stand for?
well, it depends on who you ask, but it's so Serge and Meg's awesome real estate team, or it would be Serge and Meg, attorney, restaurateur, and then possibly title. Because then when we were starting out on this journey, since I'm an attorney, we thought maybe we could just get a title company up and going, and we got some consulting from a friend of ours who's in title.
What's up,
Just talked to
Colin?
him a
What's
little
up,
bit about
Marie?
that.
Sorry, just
So-
people.
No,
Guys,
that's awesome.
great.
Yes, thank you for joining.
Yeah,
That's so
Tyler,
cool.
what's up?
I was wondering what SMART stood for, but they're really cool.
Yeah, they got Serge and Meg's
Awesome real estate team.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Makes sense.
Yeah.
So, okay, so we talked a little bit about like your background. We've talked about what you're doing right now. What do you think the long-term goal for you guys is? I mean, is it still continuing down this real estate path, or do you have a bigger, plan in mind?
Yeah, great question. So I think for now, expanding in real estate industry is what we need to concentrate on. There is still so much to learn. I mean, the learning curve the first year, just kind of looking back, I think we were talking about it the other day, just thinking about how we thought and our understanding of the industry a year ago to today, how much it has changed and how empowered we feel to actually understand what's going on. And we are just in a little sliver of residential single family homes.
Right.
And there's just so much out there. Take this office space, right? Like someone bought the land, developed it, leased it out, sold it, resold it. So there's a lot to learn, and on every intersection you stand, you are surrounded by $1 million worth of wealth, right? You look on every corner, and someone touched it, right? From, again, the developers to the city. So there's still a lot to learn as we go down this path. So for at least kind of in early discussions with us, is just concentrate on this, get really good, but keep learning about what else is out there in terms of development. What other opportunities are out there, kind of, with, let's say, home flipping. How is that whole thing working out? Meg mentioned something about title as well, and that she can leverage her degree with title work potentially in the future. So,
and even a real estate practice,
Right.
that would be, the first thing I did was register a few domains, like St. Pete Real Estate Lawyer, St. Pete Real Estate Attorney, all of that stuff, because I think eventually it makes sense for me to be thinking about something like that. But yeah, so we're a year in, we pushed, we got through it based on like pure hustle. And now we actually need to put systems into place and like almost take a couple steps back and say, how can we improve the business that we're doing right now? So one of the things we've been talking about quite a bit over the last few weeks is dividing and conquering more. So we kind of did everything together and overlapped on a lot of our tasks and clients and all of that the first year, which was great because we both got to learn at every step, but we don't need to do that now. So now we can kind of separate tasks, and I think so those are just those little tweaks that you make along the way with your business that every entrepreneur goes through, kind of staying nimble, as with that book that you made me read.
Was it Scrum?
No. I don't know. Some book you made me read when we first became entrepreneurs, and so I'll think of it. Oh no, but you know what? I just bought that book.
Really? It's
Yeah,
good.
literally a couple days ago.
Another one. There's one up there, The Magic of Believing. It's kind of the same scenario, but it's the thing if you're rich, but it's still good.
Yeah, you gotta do the audiobook.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
Well,
really
I
good.
bought the paperback.
We gave out a book last week. If you were watching the show, if you didn't watch last week's show, you should check it out. What was it called? OMG WTF OMG or OMG
OMG WTF.
Yeah.
By Juliet Kais.
Yeah, Juliet Kais gave out a book, her book last week. It was a good show, so make sure you check that out if you didn't yet.
Yeah, books. I mean,
Yeah.
right? Like along the way, just to kind of make a note of that, like you're always learning. You should always be learning, always be adding something to your knowledge base, and I think that is incredibly helpful. I mean, I picked up The Millionaire Real Estate Agent, which is the Keller Williams Bible, basically. And out of that, I ended up talking to some of my friends who are still practicing law and said, I actually missed billing my hours for a couple of reasons, and their head is just like exploding. They're like, what? And it's like, well, there was a way that it kept you on track and accountable for your goals each month, each year. Before, I knew exactly how many hours I had to bill to keep my job or make my bonus, and then I'd back it up. So each month I had to bill certain numbers of hours, which meant if I wanted to travel, and that was my big why, and I know we're going to get to that, but then I would block out, okay, I have to be able to work really, really hard this week, bill some extra hours, because next month I'm going to take this vacation. When I get back, I don't want to be behind on my hours.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Something like that. So in this strange way, I was like almost missing billable hours, which I don't. But it was, just an accountability factor piece out of a book. And it's, I think, continuing to find time to just pick up a book or while you're driving, listening to an audiobook.
Were you billing in like 15 minutes increments?
Every 10th of an hour.
Every 10th of an hour.
10th
6
of an
minutes.
Every 6 minutes.
Every 6
I was keeping
minutes.
track of.
Wow.
We do
Which when I
have
was
some questions coming.
Yeah.
Let's see. Kathleen asked, Serge and Megan, what advice would you give to someone wanting to rent their home, and how should the owner protect their investment? Do you have any good answers for that?
Choose a good tenant.
Meet
right?
them in person, probably, to
Yeah.
choose a good tenant. And I mean, people can lie to you and that sort of thing, but it's...
Just do all the due diligence. Maybe hire a management company to help you out with that. But if you want to talk more about that, you could just reach out to us and we can actually have more of an extended conversation on that topic.
How can people reach you guys?
So, I mean, we can drop my email address somewhere.
Okay.
It's Meg at Smart Luxury Group. Serge is Serge at Smart Luxury Group. And then it's Megan Flatt, Flatt, and Serge's last name's tough to spell, but if you type in Serge, it'll probably pop up.
I didn't even try to pronounce it again. Like he told us, and I'm like,
Just Serge.
But I think with property management companies, so, you can shop that around a little bit, because some of them, depends on how many properties you're holding, right? They'll give you discounts if you've got multiple properties. If you've only got one, you really have to weigh out, okay, what kind of cash flow do you want? What's your return looking like at that price point? But the property management companies, they do have that kind of hammer they can put down on your tenant that maybe you might not feel comfortable doing. So they can make sure that the notices are going out if they're not keeping up with the property. They can make sure that they're doing regular inspections if you ask them to do that. I mean, you're paying them, so you can also leverage that to get someone out to check on your property, and doing regular walkthroughs. No one wants to bug their tenants because of they're worried about their privacy, but I would never let my tenant sit in a property for more than 6 months without having getting in there to do something, check out your property.
Not putting holes in the walls.
Yeah, because even we just encountered this. A friend of a family was living in the house, and they walked in. There's doors missing off of the pantry, and there's a hole in a wall, and the carpet's disgusting. And so in a very short amount of time, they did some pretty significant damage, and they trusted that person. So if you've got maybe a third party in between you and the tenant, you might feel a little bit more comfortable just getting in there.
Yeah, and also having that management group can really help you guys focus on your end of the business and not so much be in the field. Of course, you want to be turning new properties and new clients and stuff like that. So having that third party can really help you, keep your focus on your business.
Oh, absolutely. If they're investments, you don't want to have to be touching it too much.
Right.
So
Yeah, I want to streamline it.
yeah,
Make it easy
it's
as
residual
possible.
income. You're not supposed to have to touch it.
So next question from Nicole. Partnerships can be hard. How do you make your partnership work effectively? Probably from a relationship standpoint and from
Yeah, that's a good
just
question.
a partner in general.
So it has been
Tough. It's tough.
Yeah. Well, tough. It's tough when we don't take a step back and actually try to understand what is going on. Right. So we have discovered that for us not to sit the day before today, right? Not sitting down yesterday and talking about what today looks like and what tomorrow looks like makes it tough.
Right.
So by sitting there and planning a day, a week, so everyone has their expectations set right, it just creates a much smoother path for everyone. Because when it's not planned out and we'd wake up and then all of a sudden, oh, well, I was thinking of doing this, I was thinking of doing that, then your expectations may be just kind of stepped on. So that has been probably one of the key things that we've done is planning.
And we communicate really, really well. So, I think if there's something that's bothering one of us in either capacity, we just talk about it. Like those things just get addressed because I think if you hold those things in, then maybe you're harboring something on a relationship side that then is going to naturally affect the business side and vice versa. So, one of the challenges we're having right now in moving our business in this direction of kind of dividing and conquering is understanding, well, what are our new expectations of each other? And who's going to do what and who wants to do what? Like what we've had to sit, we did this with group bites too, and sat down and said, okay, we can't be doing everything together. We really shouldn't be spending every moment together because that's, it's just maybe too much. But, what's going to fulfill you? What do you want to be working on? Which types of the business projects and tasks do you want to actually do? Because if you're not happy doing them and you're not feeling fulfilled, it's going to affect you, it's going to affect the business, it's going to affect the relationship,
and
everything.
Just delegating in general, like keeping people accountable, I think is probably really good. Good tip.
Yeah.
So I think having a partnership kind of makes it easier in a sense where you guys can really like check and balance. Like if you see Serge falling off or not really staying focused, I'm not saying you are or you do that, but you kind of have that like, hey, this person knows what's my best interest, and they're going to help me with my goals, vice versa. So like you have that kind of always support system, whereas if you were doing this alone completely, it would be like, okay, like now I got to think about all these different things on my own, and you don't have that like backup almost. So I think having that partnership is a key to your guys' success. Yeah.
And I think there's something in this whole notion of always assume the best in someone else. It's sometimes easy to be like distrusting or just assume that maybe, especially I would imagine outside of a personal relationship, because we can kind of we have a natural trust in each other's character. That's why we're dating. But outside of that, if it's just a business partner, I think, or a friendship, right? So sometimes you don't return someone's call or you don't get back to your business partner or whatever it may be. It's like maybe it's better to assume the best and try and keep a positive outlook on your relationship, because that interpersonal relationship really affects people in business. And maybe, I don't know if it's different with men and women or not, but I just think it's something we've talked about in the past. Is just, kind of assume that, everyone is out to help each other move things forward and not, derail whatever you're working on or something like that.
It's a team effort.
Makes sense. That's awesome. So, like, one thing I like to do during this show, we do this with almost every guest. Well, we've only had 3, but so far we've done it with every guest. And that's really just, like, we really want to bring, like, this, like, value or this, like, aha to the viewers. Like, so if you could give one, and it doesn't have to be real estate specific, but if you could give, like, one thing that you found really powerful to help you grow, either as individuals or as a team or as entrepreneurs, like, what do you think that is? What could you tell a viewer today to, like, really maybe help them take the plunge of being an entrepreneur, or like maybe they're struggling through something. I don't know, you have anything like that?
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, I mean, there's so many thoughts racing through my mind right now because there have been so many key moments where there were aha moments along kind of my path. So, one, the big aha moment today is like, it's okay to step back, right? If you're trying to, but at least here we want to talk about motivation and moving forward and trying different things and stepping outside of your kind of box. So I visualize this image. It's a friend of mine, Jeff, sent it to me. It's like this big circle, and outside of this big circle there's another circle, and it's like, the big circle is your comfort zone, and then outside is like, but this is where everything happens, right? Everything happens outside of your comfort zone. And I think all of us can reflect back, looking into our life. There have been so many moments where we were not comfortable doing something, and then we persevered, and then we look back, we're like, wow, that was actually pretty easy. That was doable. And then that gives us strength to go ahead and tackle another challenge. And that every challenge is, solvable. I was going to say tackleable, but I don't think that's a word. But every challenge, we can persevere. It's like there's nothing that we're not capable of doing. It's just a matter of taking the right approach and most importantly, taking that first step. So I guess, my personality is just kind of like no fears, go out, try it, and just go for it, right? And so don't be suppressed by your own limitations in your mind, because there's so much to do out there and it's all possible.
That's true. Yeah, that's huge. I mean, I've struggled with that. I'm sure everybody has. I mean, it's hard to be, and I think consistency with that is huge too, because you might be able to do something one time and it's nervous, you feel like you're gonna die or whatever, but the more you do it, the more comfortable you get with doing it. So it's not only stepping out of your comfort zone, but just to continually step out of your comfort zone and keep doing these things. This is, I've never went live before until we started doing this show, so it's been uncomfortable for me, but every time I do it, I get a little bit more comfortable.
And then you kind of like silence those back of your mind voices that say, hey, this is probably not what you should do, you should stay comfortable. Right. But I completely agree with that.
And this is actually, for us, this is motivating, and what a perfect timing, because after we walk out of here, we have to make our own live video for Megan's cause. We're trying to raise some money for all children's, and Megan maybe give a little shout out and talk about that.
Definitely.
Towards the end. But we've been like talking, we gotta do a video, and then we tried to do our own videos for Smart Luxury Group, but like haven't actually done anything live. And we're like, all right, we gotta set it up. So now we're like, all right,
here's a quick tip, not to interrupt you real quick tip about going live. If you go live as opposed to posting just a normal video, you'll receive 6 times more engagement from just viewers and your audience.
Wow.
So 6 times more people will view it, see it, interact with it if you go live as opposed to just posting a normal post.
Great. Well, even more.
And you can take, I think, incremental steps with things too. So rather than having to do everything at once, we just talked about this on a panel the other day, but do a live video where your face isn't on it first, or ask somebody else some questions or something, and then at some point you'll flip the screen around.
And then you'll get the lights and then the tripod and all the good stuff. But you can start off with just handheld and just get comfortable with it first. But I mean, I've been doing video for like 5 years now, and it's still hard for me to get in front of camera. It's like so hard. It's like a fear of mine, but I'm growing my YouTube page as well, so getting in front of the camera and talking to whoever's watching is like the biggest fear for me. It's like, because who's listening? Who really actually wants to hear what you're saying? But at the end of the day, what I have to do is step back and say, hey, I actually like what I'm talking about, and that's all that matters. And if you like it, then people can get close to it. So whenever you go live, just think like, hey, whatever we're talking about, people like it. I don't care. I like it. So it's all that matters.
No, I think that's great advice.
Yeah, exactly. So,
And I think there's something, to just putting yourself out there, giving it a shot, and then looking around you and saying, I everybody else is doing it too. Or not even everybody, but if someone else can do this, then I can do it. It's just kind of that mantra, like put that in your head. You know, I think that's been one of the things throughout this whole process was like, okay, there's all these people who've gone out there and tried to start their own businesses, and like not everyone is a genius. There are a few Elons out there, but you know, it's like kind of like you can do it too, and keeping that in the forefront of your mind.
If those girls on YouTube could do like makeup tutorials and get millions of views and make money off of literally putting makeup on their face, then you can do it too.
I think
maybe I should switch careers.
Gary Vee had I think it was like a comment or something in his last book, and he was like, feel like a jackass until you're not. Basically saying like, hey, you're going to go out and you're going to do some stupid shit that you've never done before, and you're probably going to feel like an idiot, but be an idiot until you're not an idiot, which means like people actually are like paying attention to you and start to like believe in what you're doing, right? So internally you might feel like you're doing something really dumb, but externally people are going to gravitate towards it. And,
and it's never perfect first try. No. Don't expect it to be perfect. That's the thing.
That's very true.
This being our third show, I think it's went really well for all of our guest experiences, and you know, we're kind of getting our groove in the way of this show kind of works. So, but we came in with no expectations. We're just like, hey, let's get on this, let's talk, let's be cool, and let's have people talk with us. And then that was pretty much the expectation there. It was not like, okay, we're gonna make them look really good, we're gonna make this show awesome, it's gonna be Gary Vee, it's gonna be this, it's gonna be that. It's like, no, let's just get in front of it and make it happen. And when you show up and make it happen, great conversation comes out of it. So.
What was that other little motto of ours we had? You know, don't let the great get in the way of the good. Right? Like you know, like paralysis by analysis. You know, so instead of just saying, oh, you know, we're gonna do all these edits and all these cuts and everything like that, let's just get it out, get the first version out.
And you don't know, so you always want the likes and the views and all of those things because it's a very tangible way of knowing that what you're doing matters, or you know, people like it. But you know, you might as well just keep doing it anyways, because even if people aren't appearing to engage with it, the fact that they see what you're doing might be building the credibility you need, or the platform that you need.
It takes 7 engagements for someone to see it over and over again before they might take action, right? So like we're only on our 3rd show, so people might be seeing this constantly every Monday, but just it might take us till show 7 for them to be like, all right, I'm going to check out and see what these guys are saying. So hopefully by show 7 we're killing it, right? We're doing awesome, but that it takes 7 times usually. So
it's crazy how it changed, right? Before, I would guess maybe a decade or so ago, or before the social media, and so forth, it was 3 times, right? You should, you know, that was a standard for any kind of like print marketing, cable marketing. It's like, hey, 3 times, then you get it. Now today, because we're so bombarded with ads everywhere,
emails down to like a 13 to 17% open rate, which is like you know, and then but you got some new things coming out, right? You have text, which is obviously a bigger open rate. You have chatbots, online chatbots. Facebook Messenger is a good tool now for getting people to, you know, at least for open rates and getting people to, you know, drive traffic in different directions. Could be a good tool.
So I have a question. What is one thing that you guys are doing to get exposure? You say you want to get in front of live videos more to talk about what you do, or any type of social media, but what are you guys doing now that you're seeing success with in terms of talking to new people, or you know, closing those new deals or clients or whatever?
Sure. So one of the things that we have been taking advantage of is kind of our iPhone. Bought a couple of little gadgets too, the wide lens camera and the microphone. So when we go out, for one, so every property that we end up listing for sale, we end up doing a walkthrough video. So I have a little gimbal, I record Meg, and she does a very good job of walking someone through the house. Not many agents out there do that, and it allows us to advertise that video and help people actually see it and get interested in it rather than just seeing the photos. So they can actually truly experience that. And then we've taken that and we started using the same technology for our buyers. We have an out-of-state buyer right now who is going under contract. Meg was working on it this morning, and she's putting a contract on a house without even stepping foot to it because of the walkthrough videos. Right? So walking in and using technology in that way And then obviously we can put it on Facebook and advertise it and show it to more people and say, hey, this is how we would kind of service we would provide for you if you are out of state buyer, or even if you're here. Gosh, we had a couple we worked with in November. We looked at maybe 50 houses with them, right? Like every weekend, going out there, looking at houses. Don't like this one, don't like this one, don't like this. Finally, a house comes up on MLS, multiple listing service, and we looked at the photos and we're like, man, this is the house for the couple. Like, this is the house. They were already kind of tired of being out in the market. We reach out to them, they're at work, and they're like, you know what, we can't get off early, we'll go out there tomorrow. We're like, no, this house is gonna be sold today. So we go out there, do the walkthrough video, send it to them. They're like, oh my gosh, yes, it is the house, let's go.
Wow.
So we end up going on the contract and fighting through the contract until like 11:59 p.m. It was like multiple offer, bidding war and all that.
Yeah, so social media, you know, it's strange in a way that it's become such a good tool for businesses, especially relationship-driven business. So I think that for what we do, it's important for people to know who you are, what you're about, what you stand for, because people want to do business with someone that they like on multiple different levels. And so social media is your way to kind of show everyone.
It's an awareness tool.
Yeah. And so sometimes, you know, we go back and forth a lot just in kind of debating, do you accept all these random people as your friends that are friend requesting you, or like, you know, they're other inspectors or other title company people, whatever, and you're like, well, this is my personal space, but it's not really very personal anymore, you know. And so you are just allowing a bunch of people to start peering into your life. But if you've chosen an industry in which that's what brings you business, then you might as well take it and use it to your advantage. So I try to do walkthrough videos on Instagram, and actually I've gotten like direct messages through Instagram from people that I know that, like, hey, my aunt is looking for a property, you know. So then you're like, wow, you know, these tools are powerful. So I think, yeah, any type of social media, the Instagram, I think with the new Instagram shows, it's going to be really interesting to see how that opens things up for everybody. So Facebook, the live videos, regular videos, we boost posts, and we still do a little bit of print, you know, because Florida is, as far as population goes, we've got a large elderly population and a ton of retirees, and those people are not, some of them absolutely are on Facebook. Some of them are like awesome clients are on Facebook. The Serenis, they're usually like checking in. They've been so amazing, like super supportive, and they're you know, like they're retired. And so, you know, we think that's great. That's also part of why they chose to work with us, is they got on our Facebook and saw our Facebook page. And so it's like, okay, so someone, you know, people in their 50s, 60s, 70s, they're still looking to see what you're about. And this is a way to educate them on that. But then there's plenty of people who aren't quite as tech savvy or don't care about social media.
And then you'll send them that.
And then you send them postcards.
Print. Yep.
Yeah. So kind of have to just be aware of, like, there's a diverse audience out there for what we're doing.
And that's what they call it, omni-channel, right? Marketing. You try different things.
I like that, though, utilizing video. They say that in the next couple of years, everything, well, actually right now everything is switching over to video. Like, if you're not doing any video marketing, you know, you might as well just, like, you know, put up your tools, you know, kind of chill out. But like, video is extremely effective if you're doing it consistently, like Michael was saying. If you're doing it and you're speaking about your message and really showing something different, I think that's one thing that's important, is that you see so many videos that you scroll through whatever platform you're on, and you see an ad for something that literally the same guy just posted the same type of ad on, you know, like, hey, I'm an entrepreneur, here's how you can make $1 million, here's the service I did to use it, ClickFunnels page, you know. And like, no one wants to see that. Do something different, do something in your industry where people are going to be like, wow, you know. You want people to say wow when they watch your videos. You want people to say they're doing something different. So do it different, do it right, and just be yourself. I think that's super important, and I think that you guys are doing a great job utilizing video. So we'll drop their link in the description.
Yeah, we're going to drop it up. We're going to wrap it up. I do have something for them, though, before they go. As always, we have some shirts. Just awesome. They made their mark live here on Make Your Mark Live. So
all right, quick, hold them up, thumbnail.
Yeah, we got to do a little.
Perfect.
All right. So
and actually, maybe make a little chat. Can you talk about
talk about your little
cause
thing.
and just
okay, sure. Yeah, and you know, I don't necessarily expect people to donate right through here, but one of the things that I've done since leaving the law firm is staying involved with the foster children in Tampa Bay. So I represent foster kids as an attorney ad litem. And the work that I do is very much supported by an organization called Florida's Children First. So they've donated over 6 million hours of professional services to foster children. And they've donated, they put on tons of different trainings every year for all throughout the state of Florida. They educate our legislators. They do not get any sort of government funding, so they're completely independent. So we get all of our support for that organization from private donations. So it's the Tampa Bay's award ceremony is coming up at the office of my old law firm actually this week, and so that's their biggest annual fundraiser. So I'm just trying to raise as much awareness and funds ultimately for the organization.
What's the easiest way for people to donate?
So Florida's Children First has its own page, and it's also on my Facebook page. So if you add me as a friend or shoot me a note, then I can send you the link. Anything $10, $25 is really helpful, because again, we rely on just private individuals to help support this work. And Florida's Children First is the reason why children in Florida have a statutory right to counsel, to an attorney. So if you can imagine, this child who's been ripped out of their home, put in foster care, has nothing, no resources. They do need an attorney to walk them through that process. They need a voice. So as their attorney ad litem, we're there to say, what do you want? What do you need? What are you not getting? And then in front of the judge, when their hearings come up, we're able to stand there and tell the judge, hey, the system is failing them in this way. They're not getting these things, or they've been moved around to 7 different homes. We need a steady placement for them. Children can't, it's just not a healthy way for them to survive. So anyways, that's the work of Florida's Children
And the
First.
attorneys are volunteering their time. The funds are needed just for the administrative operating costs, filing paperwork, some fees here, some fees there. So the attorneys are working for free, but there still needs to be funds to just make sure that they're
absolutely. We're pro bono, so it's not that you're funding
we'll get that link up to you guys.
Cool.
Awesome
Thank you so
cause.
much.
Thank you. Thank you for telling us about that.
Yeah.
That's really awesome.
Yes.
Well, yeah,
and thank you again so much for having us.
It's a pleasure. We love hearing you guys' story. Keep doing the good work.
Great.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yay.
All right,
Thank you,
guys,
sir.
we're over for today, right?
Yeah.
And we'll be back next Monday, 9 a.m. We'll probably do a sneak peek of who our next guest is.
Well, maybe 9 a.m. I got some travel coming up, but I will be back
Okay.
Monday.
We might be switching it
So
up.
might be switching up for that Monday. But this is Serge and Meg. This is how they left their mark here on Make Your Mark Live. If you want to see more about them, we're going to drop their links in. Thank you for tuning in this week.
Yeah. Love you guys.
Thank you.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.